Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host Chris, or CDB, and today we're going to do a different sort of video. In this video, I'm going to talk about gear that I have let go that I wish I hadn't let go. So each time I mention one of these things, I want to shed a tear because I miss these items. And we're going to start with razors that I miss, that I had to let go. Number one razor, and this is in no particular list, but this one just happens to be number one on my list, is the Charcoal Goods Level 2 razor that I had with the hammered handle. I loved that razor. It was absolutely phenomenal for me, but it was one of those times where I was getting divorced, kind of needed the scratch, and so I had to let it go. And a lot of these items are for similar reasons. Some I fell out of love with, some, it's just, I could use the money more than the product at the time, and so I let them go. But I definitely missed the Charcoal Level 2 razor. That razor is still terrific. I would recommend it to anyone who can afford it. It's absolutely phenomenal craftsmanship. The second razor that I regret letting go is the One Blade Genesis. And I got that razor in a trade, and it was the original version that you could use the gem blades without modification, and that was terrific. But at some point, when I discovered that I could use carts successfully on my head, at some point I got the idea that basically a cart can do the same thing a one blade does. It really can't, but I got rid of that razor. Again, probably sold it because, it pivoted, carts pivoted, and I thought, what does this do that's special? But in retrospect, I wish I had not gotten rid of that razor because it was a very good shaver, and it also took the gem blade. So I regret getting rid of that razor. The other razor that I regret getting rid of is the Rex Ambassador. I love that razor. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is your adjustable Rex. When I first got it, it was perfect. And then I just started getting this really weird drag-like sensation with it when I was shaving. And so I reach out to the inspector. I'm like, I love this thing, but now I'm getting this weird drag. And so he bought it from me. I didn't sell it at retail, by the way. He bought it, and then he found out that there was actually a problem with that razor. So he got it replaced, and then it was fine for him. I think eventually he might have let it go also, but if that razor had been working perfectly and I'd never gotten that drag from it, I would not have gotten rid of that razor. That's another razor that I got in a trade. I love that razor, and if I had it today, I certainly wouldn't get rid of it. The next razor is, I had two of these, Wolfman's. One, I believe, was an open comb version, and then the WR1. I got rid of those because honestly, at the time, the craftsmanship of the Wolfman is just absolutely terrific. But overall, the prices were escalating so much that I was just like, I don't understand why people are paying these crazy prices. And I probably traded away or sold it, but I did not sell it at an exorbitant price. In fact, I've never even got anything out of what I pay for a razor selling it. So I've never flipped razors or gear of any type for exorbitant prices. I've traded, I've sold, but anyone who's bought gear from me can tell you I've never charged them anything close to what I pay. I just want to make that clear. But anyway, I regret getting rid of the WR1 just because it's so hard to get a hold of now. It is really a great shaver. It is terrifically crafted. It's certainly one of the better shavers out there, but it's not the best shaver I've ever had. But I do regret letting that one go. The other razor is the Eveready Streamline, which is that single edge razor. And honestly, I didn't think that razor was a great shaver, and so I let it go. But every time I see one, I'm like, man, I would love to have an Eveready. I already forgot what I was calling it. Streamline again, because it just looks so great. But something about it, I think at the time I wasn't enamored with it, and I just maybe didn't think it shaved great. But every time I see one now, I want it. All of those razors I mentioned above, when I see them, I'm like, oh, I wish I could have one of those. But, I let them go, and they're beyond my budget. Now, with brushes, there is only one brush. Well, actually, a couple. The main brush that I wish I hadn't let go was the original L'Occitane Plisson with the brown handle, which cost $30 or $60, depending on when you bought it. And the only reason is for sentimental reasons. the synthetic knots today are superior. And I do have a synthetic knot in my custom brush, the L'Occitane Plisson knot in that brush, but I don't have an actual old school L'Occitane Plisson with the brown handle. The only reason I would like to have one today is just to kind of set it aside for sentimental reasons. That's the original brush of the gods, as we called it, because it was the first really great, in my view, synthetic brush. And then later, much better brushes came along cheaper. But that brush, I kind of regret letting go. And I had several of them. The other ones I would say are some customs that Peter Wolf made. But the problem was they were earlier versions before Plisson knots started being highly available. I had him make a couple of customs for me. The synthetic knots at the time just weren't very good. So I just didn't like those knots compared to other knots that were out there, after Plisson. So I let them go. But I love the craftsmanship that he has, the way he builds his handles, the way they look. I'm always drawn to the Wolf Whiskers handles. I just think they're terrific, and I wish I hadn't gotten rid of some of those, even if only for sentimental reasons, because I really didn't care for the knots in most of them. With software, there's only a few pieces of software. Honestly, I don't regret much when it comes to software. I do regret when I stopped using certain brands and I got rid of all those soaps, because I ended up getting rid of things you cannot get, like Barber Pole. Remember that when they first came out with, before it became CAD, it was Barber Pole and things like Steeplechase. So those you can't get anymore in the original packaging. So for sentimental reasons, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of those. And also some Barrister and Mann releases. But I will tell you, there is no premium software that I regret getting rid of ever. Not the X-Spec, not the one from Italy that's super expensive, which I always, Pentacrema, the Nueva or whatever it's called. I don't regret getting rid of that. I really have almost no software regrets, apart from the stuff that I got rid of when I wasn't using certain brands, which, in case you don't know, I wiped that slate clean now. I don't worry anything about things like that. I use just everything and evaluate products on the merits of the products. But those are pretty much the things that if I could have back, I would like to have back. Or I should say, I regret letting those things go, because every time I see them now, I'm like, ooh, I don't regret getting rid of the pills. There's been many a premium offering, both hardware, brushes. The $200 Badgers, I absolutely do not regret getting rid of, none whatsoever. I don't regret getting rid of the Simpsons synthetic brushes that were pricey at the time. None of that stuff. The only things I should say that I regret are the things that I mentioned in this list. And maybe you all have some things that you regret letting go as well. Write in the comments below the things that you miss and wish you hadn't have let go. I want to thank everybody for watching. Until next time, I want to remind you, it's your shave. Do it your way. Don't get rid of your great stuff. Trust me, and God bless.